another vlog. If you're new here, my name is Lacey Danelle. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications to know every time your girl uploads. But welcome. This is I don't want to say my first sit down vlog because I've did a few, probably 1 or 2 sit downs, but like this is my first official like sit down story time vlog. Changing it up a bit on the page, but I hope that you guys do enjoy. So say hi to me in the comments if you're new here as well. So this story time, let's see how we're gonna go with this one. Just wanted to talk a little bit about myself, and I want to say, you know, when I realized that I really did need God in my life, y'all, I'm still a work in progress, but I think I should start there. So a little bit of backstory, and I'll cover some more stuff, you know, as these vlogs go on. But you know, I originally grew up in the Virgin Islands. I moved to Georgia, I want to say in 2010. I was in the military, so I am a veteran. Shout out to my veterans as well. If you are a veteran, let me know in the comments below. But that's, you know, where I was. And I want to say the first time I really realized that I needed God in my life was actually when I was in basic training for the military, army of course. And initially I was going to be in the Navy, but ended up joining the army because the naval recruiter was not there. So that's how I ended up over on the army side of things. And while I was in basic training, it was so hard. I already had 2 of the 4 kids. I had the older kids, Amara and Amaya, and I was homesick. So, you know, it was a struggle for me. And I remember I used to cry a lot. I used to be depressed a lot. And I had to say, God, just get me through this training and I think I'll be okay. And at the time, you know, it was just saying that, but not realizing in saying that, you know, I was really calling on him for help and really realizing that I needed him in my life. So I did end up making it through basic training, moved on, and it was like after I got to that point where, okay, we made it through training, you know, I kind of got back to her. Okay, I'm good. And don't get me wrong, I would still praise, I would still pray here and there, but it wasn't like I was praying before because I just wanted to get through that rough period. And I figured, okay, once I got through that rough period, that everything was going to be okay. So that's what I did. But it was so funny because once I left basic training and went on, it was like, okay, things seemed okay and I seemed like I was okay, but they weren't. And I was still feeling depressed, still feeling like, okay, God, here I am again thinking that I was okay, but I'm not, so I need you again. And you know, I was trying to read my word, still trying to go to church, still praising, but I think I would say not like I was supposed to and not like I do now, because you know, there was a difference then and now of how much I realized and recognized that I needed him. But you know, that happened. So it once again, it was like, okay, being in his presence kept me sane, but then again I was like, okay, I'm good now, I got through this, I'm gonna be okay, yada yada. And then here comes me being stationed at Fort Gordon, and again I was still feeling depressed, still feeling like I don't know how I'm gonna do this, because now it was to the point where yes, I'm working, but then my hours, I was like getting up so early to go to PT, to go to the motor pool, to go do whatever. And then when I got home, I was so tired that it felt like I was not seeing the kids at all. I was seeing them, but not like how I wanted to. So again, but at that point, I would say I wasn't praying like I was supposed to. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. I wasn't really reading my word. I was just kind of doing, like, the little scripture of the day and stuff like that. But that was the most general part of it. And then there was the point to where I got pregnant with Mia first. And at that time I was depressed and I was not feeling it at all. But I wouldn't speak up and I wouldn't say anything because I was a type of person, and this is something I'm working on, and this is another reason I like YouTube, because I never used to speak up. I never used to say anything. I used to keep everything bottled up. I used to keep everything inside. So I used to just try to put on that happy face, make it seem like everything was okay, but I was not. So that happened. I had a Mia, and while I was at home with her, all this time in the military, I saved up all my time because I wanted more than the designated time to be home with her. So I took extra time after whatever it was, 6 weeks or whatever it was, to stay at home. So then I finally went back to work. And at this point, I was still feeling depressed, still feeling down, but I didn't know what I needed to do. I didn't know, anything. I was then at the time doing counseling here and there, whatever the case may be. Then I ended up getting pregnant with Amani, and it was where I was okay, but it was still the same thing. Still feeling depressed, still feeling, I want to say, just down, feeling like I wanted to give up. And at this point, y'all, I wasn't doing anything other than probably posting here and there the word, the scripture of the day. So I went through that pregnancy. That pregnancy was probably the most craziest pregnancy ever. Went through a lot. So after giving birth to Amani, I was so over it. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I felt so lost. I felt like I did not have control over my life. I felt like I was spiraling to the point where I tried to commit suicide. So there's that. But with that, I ended up getting checked into the hospital, going through the whole thing, and I was like, okay. And even with all that going on, I still was not reading my Bible. I still wasn't praying. I don't even think at this point now that I'm even kind of doing the scripture of the day, reading it, whatever. But that's just what it was. Now, I would say a few months or a year or so went by, and I was like, okay, mentally I was done. I was over it, and I was to the point where I felt like I wasn't even functioning correctly. I was functioning without even knowing that I was functioning. Still had suicidal thoughts, still to the point where I was just ready to give up. Now, I would say probably, I don't know, a few months, it was like, okay, I felt like the military environment was not for me, because there were a lot of things that were going on at the time, which I'll probably address in another vlog, kind of detailing that stuff. But there was some stuff going on. I was like, I don't want to be here. I was still really, really high and feeling like I wanted to end my life, or just not be around other people, just to be isolated, all that stuff. So, went ahead and I was discharged from the military. And I thought being discharged from the military at the time would put me back in a position of where maybe I'll be happy, it'll ease a burden off of me. I'll be, as I said, just happy and more upbeat, back to normal. But even with that, it still felt, and I still felt like I didn't want to be here. I didn't have a purpose. No one cared. So many things, so many emotions. Still feeling like maybe I should end my life. And the thing that really kept me going were the kids, because at the time I used to think here and there about them, but I still kind of felt like this world, it'll be okay without me. So I got out in 2013, and then I was like, okay, I'm out. What am I going to do with my life? And I was like, okay, I'm just going to go to school, because I didn't know work-wise what I wanted to do, nothing. So at the time I was going to school, and it kind of did give me a sense of purpose, but again, still feeling suicidal, still feeling depressed, and I'm not saying anything to anyone. Yes, I'm being seen at the VA. Probably only my doctor at the VA knows that I'm depressed, nobody else. The people that I talk to, the people that I keep close to me. And I was just like, okay, I'll be okay. It is what it is. And then kind of just went through that motion for a little bit. And I think maybe in about 2016, no, I'll go back a little bit. I would say 2014, 15, I was like, okay, I don't know what's going on, because still feeling depressed. I'm not in the military anymore. I was still thinking about a lot of the things that did happen while I was in the military, but I still kind of felt like, I don't know, why am I still feeling suicidal? Why am I still feeling this type of way? So I finally decided, okay, I was like, the only thing that I did not try to do is like going back to church and starting to pray and stuff like that. So it started off with me just going to church every Sunday, and doing that, trying to get a peace of mind for the week, and that was it, just church. So once I started going to church, it kind of got me a little bit of peace, but not the type of peace that I still felt that I needed. So in about a year later, I decided, okay, I needed to do more than church, but I was transitioning from moving from Augusta to Atlanta. So my focus was kind of just the process of going through with buying the house, different things, getting everything done. And then it felt like another burden was on me, because the house buying process is crazy. So that used to bring me to tears, used to make me feel like I'm losing my mind, stuff like that. So again, at this point, yes, I'm trying to go to church when I can. I do have a little feeling like I'm having a little bit of peace, but I just still didn't have that peace that I wanted to have, that joy, that openness. And I would say a little bit after that is, once we moved in and kind of settled, I was like, okay, I really need to find a church to go to, and I really need to kind of start focusing more on God. So I ended up finding a church. I do go to Limitless Church in Fayetteville, Georgia, where I have Pastor Kim as my pastor. Love her, she's awesome. But I was going to church, still wasn't at peace, because this is only Sundays. I'm like, okay, I do have some peace as usual, but it's not the peace that I want. So here comes, I want to say, about a few months later, I'm like, okay, there's something that I need to do. I'm still not feeling it. And I would say, number one, always pay attention to the people that you're surrounded by, because sometimes their spirits and your spirits not mixing. So you gotta kind of know the vibe, kind of know, what's going on there, because it can be a contributor to you feeling depressed. So there was that. And then one morning I woke up, I was on Facebook, and I came across this video. Shout out to my other pastor, Pastor Kelly Agweze. I will drop the link for her YouTube channel in this video to the bottom for you guys as well. So I came across her video, listened to her that morning, and then kind of like forgot about it. So that was that. But a few months or so later, I came across her again, and I really was like, okay, I need to follow her page, follow her, see what's going on. So I started following Pastor Kelly, and I was following Pastor Kim. And that's where I realized a lot of things picked up, because now, I started to realize that I needed to get up and pray more often, because starting the day off in his presence is very important. It sets the tone for your day. Not saying that every day is still going to be perfect, but it does. I kind of realized that I had to shift a lot of things around in my life. I had to evaluate the type of people that were in my life, the very few that I do have, because I don't have a lot of friends. I really don't. I don't keep friends. I'm not surrounded by a lot of people. I'm an introvert. That's just me. So it was kind of where, but the few people that I did have, I had to kind of, see what was going on there. So started off with prayer. So I'm praying now, going to church. The only thing that I was not doing is reading my Bible consistently, because I was reading here and there, still doing like the little scripture of the day and stuff, but that's where I was. So I was feeling now some type of peace, feeling better, not feeling as depressed and suicidal as I was, but the thoughts and the depression were still there. And it took me a long time, of just listening to them, listening to the word, and just tuning in to them with that guidance, with that understanding. So, with that being said, I started fasting, started praying more. And, as I mentioned in one of my previous vlogs, I do get up early to pray, because, as I mentioned, praying for me sets the tone of the day. Not saying that every day for me is perfect, but it does help me shift my mindset to go into the day. So I'm to the point now where I'm praying, I'm fasting. I do praise and worship in the mornings, especially when the kids are getting ready, so they hear the music throughout the house. I'm trying to make sure that they know to set the tones. I've learned to have daily affirmations that I go through, again, shifting my mindset, shifting the tone of my day, the tone of my life, where I want my life to go, and now reading my word every day. And it's very hard, but you have to be disciplined in doing it. It's a discipline, because I was reading my word consistently. Then this year I started out, then for a few months I kind of was like dwindling, reading it here and there. But I use a Bible app, and I do have plans that I go through, but I've picked back up, because I was like, I need to read my word every day, because number one, there's a lot of misconceptions, I feel personally, about the Bible, about the word, especially if you don't pick it up and read it for yourself. I mean, although I follow Pastor Kim and Pastor Kelly, and I know they know the word, and Pastor Kelly is married to Pastor Sino as well, they know the word, they can read, but I read for myself to get my own understanding. If I don't understand, then I literally talk and ask God, hey, I don't understand this, can you break it down? And then I tell you, God answers, he answers. So we start talking to him. But that's where I started to find, okay, more peace, more joy, more understanding, more focus for me, not feeling as depressed, not feeling suicidal. And it took some time for me to get rid of those thoughts, to get rid of that feeling. But I don't want to say, I'm not going to be lying to you guys and say it's gone. There are still days where I feel like the enemy is just like trying to make me think that I need to revert back to those feelings, that I need to revert back to feeling suicidal, to feeling depressed, to feeling like I'm not worth anything, that I don't have a purpose, and all those things. It is still kind of a struggle, but I make sure I get up every day and I do what I have to do for me, to make sure my family's okay, to make sure that I'm not going in trying to be negative, trying to be depressed, trying to feel like I'm low on the totem pole, because I'm not. And just having that confidence and just having that mindset that God has got me, that I am his child, and we are all his children, and that everything is going to be okay. So I would say, that was just me really saying that for me, God was very, very important in my life. And the reason I say having him is very important, because when I was growing up, I grew up with my aunts. Again, I'll give a backstory on growing up in another vlog. But, it was, for a lot of us growing up at the time, we didn't have the option. It was that we had to go to church, which I didn't mind, but I think a lot of it was after being forced to go to church for so long. When you turn 18 or you turn 21, whatever the age is, when you get to that age, you're like, okay, I now can make this decision for myself if I want to go to church or not. And of course, after being forced for so long, I was kind of like, well, I'll go to church if I want to, or I'll go to church when I feel like it. And being forced, I would say, kind of put a bad taste in my mouth of not wanting to go to church and not wanting to do a lot of things, especially when it came to God. So it was like I knew God, I knew that I needed to pray and stuff, but I just felt like I could do it on my own time. And, of course, again, not being in his presence and not, doing what I would say now needed to be done, it was like I had to go through that whole process and go through dealing with all these things to get to the point where I was like, God, I need you. So that was my starting point of really getting back into slowly but surely serving him. Was, that whole process of my military journey, realizing that I needed him with me to just take me through. And now I see every day that I need him, because there are days where people get me upset. I still get pissed off sometimes, and I'm like, okay, I need him because I'm upset, I'm getting angry, I'm getting pissed off, or whatever the case may be. So I just wanted to leave you guys with that. Hopefully this blesses and encourages you guys. I will be back again in another vlog with another topic, but I hope that this sit down vlog is the start of new beginnings. Again, guys, remember to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications to know when your girl uploads a video, and I will see you guys in